Hello everybody, this is me, your old pal Max West. I draw comics and I do children's picture books. As you know, I have a new camera here. I'm testing it out. I think today we're going to do something a little different. I'm out for a walk here. Where exactly am I? Well, this is the Red River Trail. It's a park trail here in northern Fargo. It's all wilderness, as you can see. Yeah, it's a cold spring day today. Not much green around, but you should see this place in the late spring and the late summer. I mean, there's all high green grass and all green leaves on the trees. Yeah, this is all really beautiful. I thought during this little walk we would talk about some stuff. Now, as you know, I usually, when you see the videos I do, I usually talk about or draw Poison Ivy Gulch. That's a Wild West webcomic I do. But walking around here, in all this wilderness, makes me think back to the very first comic I did, which is kind of on hiatus right now. That comic book is Sunnyville Stories. I'll have a link below in the video description. Sunnyville Stories is kind of a slice-of-life saga. I've always considered that kind of a personal work. I've considered it more art, as opposed to some of my other stuff, like Poison Ivy Gulch or Dominic and Claire, which is more humorous. You see, Sunnyville is about a small, remote village of anthropomorphic animals. Yeah, it's buried deep in the forest, with plenty of mountains around. And this wild area reminds me a lot of that setting. Yeah, I'll bet this trail here is something that our characters would walk around on. The story itself revolves around an anthropomorphic teenage cat. His name is Robert Duncan, but he's better known by his nickname, Rusty. What happens is that he's originally from a big city. His father loses his job, and they have to move. They have to move away from the big city, from everything he ever knew, the only world he's used to, and they move to a very remote, small village. And yeah, they don't have all the amenities they had in the big city. Yeah, they don't have shopping malls, supermarkets, video arcades, bookstores, movie theaters, all the stuff he was used to. Oh yeah, in case you're wondering, that's the Red River that separates my adopted home state of North Dakota from our neighboring state of Minnesota. Anyway, getting back to Rusty. Yeah, he's not happy about the move. But things change. He not only starts getting used to the place, while he's exploring his new home, he meets a very sweet country girl, a teenager his own age, who's lived in Sunnyville all her life. Her name is Samantha. Everyone calls her Sam for short. The two bond pretty quickly and have all kinds of adventures. Yeah, I started this series while it was planned for years. I only started drawing it back in 2010. Kind of from 2018, I put the series on hiatus to work on other stuff. Well, the inspiration for Sunnyville Part of it was the 1980s anime series Mapletown. You know, look that up online. That was part of the inspiration.
Hi.
But a lot of it was based on some of my own personal experiences. Yeah, it was back at the very end of the 1980s. And during the first half of the 1990s, my father, who used to work for American Express, the credit card company, what happened was that he was transferred from their offices in New York City, which are long since closed, to a brand new customer service center in Greensboro, North Carolina, on the grounds of Piedmont Triad International Airport. By the way, this customer service center has since shut down and been sold to someone else. That was back in 2010. So we had to move. Rather than moving to Greensboro, North Carolina, a fairly sizable city, I used to live there myself from about November 2010 to the end of May 2014. We moved to a small town out in rural Rockingham County. And yeah, we're in my old neighborhood of New York, we could walk everywhere we needed to, and we had everything we needed in the area. Not so. We had to drive everywhere. Not to mention a lot of the amenities I was used to in New York, we just didn't have out there. It's quite an experience moving from one big place to one very small, remote, rural place. That's very much reflected in Sunnyville, my own personal experiences. Not unlike me, Rusty is kind of a wise guy. And I think his sense of humor is very much a coping mechanism to help him, cope with circumstances beyond his control. While he is a teenager and not a small child anymore, he still it has to obey his parents. He can't just move out there into the world and do what he wants. Being thrust into these strange situations, he's just still trying to find out who he is and figure out his place in the world. Not unlike me. I'm still trying to figure that out myself. Between the various comics I make, this YouTube channel I'm trying, and that book as well. The state of North Dakota has also been really something, helping to shape my my creative vision. Prior to coming out here, this was a completely alien part of the country. I used to live in New York City, one of the biggest city in the USA, as well as one of the biggest cities in the whole world. I lived in North Carolina for a while, both during the first half of the 90s in the rural areas, and for a little while in Greensboro. Yeah, at least those areas I grew familiar with. But all those experiences, they've really shaped me. They've shaped me. They've shaped my creative vision. It's given me something to aim for, too. I'm really hoping to not only hit it big with this YouTube channel, but also with my children's book, Hilda and Richie. I've talked about that before. Yeah, that not unlike Sunnyville, that was a very long time in the making. It took many years for that to become a reality. Those two cartoon foxes of mine, they were created all the way back in the year 2010. It's taken over 10 years to make them, into something solid that I can share with the world. And that's really something I plan to share with not just the world, but my adopted home state of North Dakota. Today is Saturday, April the 24th. Next week, on Saturday, which will be the 1st of May, I plan to hit the road. I'm going to take a trip up to various libraries and bookstores. I want to see about having some of them carry Hilda and Richie. I mean, I've really got a gut feeling I have a winner on my hands. I sold a number of copies during my convention appearance last week. And some of the children who saw my book, they were quite excited. It really got their attention. This trail is really something else. I like walking along it. It's just so tranquil, far away from the hustle and bustle, not to mention the high cost of living of New York City. Yep, this is quite a state. Tax-friendly, low cost of living. It is really something. No, I haven't run out of things to say. I mean, I think it's just nice to walk around here on this trail. Sometimes I like walking here to help think of new ideas or refine older ones. I draw comics, I draw picture books. At one time I wanted to write novels, but that failed miserably. Yep. Sadly, that just never went anywhere. Sometimes I wonder if I should try again. Well, I can always try. I mean, I have quite a few ideas. One of the ideas I had was about a picture book illustrator who's wanted by the United States federal government because many years earlier he had drawn a pornographic cartoon. Another idea I had was a bit more fantastic. It involved time travel. It was about a guy not very financially well off. Because he passed up on a stock tip years earlier, he uses time travel to take that stock tip. In the short run, he hits the jackpot and gets a lot of money. In the long run, though, he learns the hard way that trying to change history can have very serious consequences. I wonder if those will ever be realities. Who knows? Well, I'm just glad I could share those ideas with you. That's kind of one of the reasons I like YouTube. I can share my creations with all of you. Maybe even inspire some of you. I mean, I've told you many times before, you shouldn't let fear hold you back. I mean, you can't be scared of about failing or what other people will think. You know, even the best of the best, they get bad reviews, they get weirdos insulting them. I mean, you can't be afraid. Wow. It's just all so beautiful, this trail. It's a really beautiful state. I'm glad that I live out here, and I can create my work out here, and make all these wonderful YouTube videos to share with you. Got a squirrel up there. Where'd he go? There he is. I think I see a rabbit running up ahead. That's one of the things I like about this trail. Plenty of wildlife. Well, I'm going to end it right here. Just make sure you subscribe to my channel. Well, I'll see everyone later.